guys, it's Joe from RTP, and I'm here to give you guys some insight onto why some people, no matter how much stretching or strengthening they're doing, they always find a way to somehow pull their hamstrings. So chronic hamstring strains. To give you guys some better insight on this, let me give you guys a backstory, and for this backstory, we're gonna need a person, and this person's called Henry. Henry, the hamstring puller. All right, so Henry's a football player, and his season's beginning, all right? And every season, for some reason, he always manages to pull his hamstrings, especially during sprints. Now, Henry, compared to other players, actually does the stretches. He does the stretches day in, day out, before practice, after practice, before games, after games. So what is Henry's problem here? So Henry's posture actually looks something like this. Henry's dumped into this, what we call anterior pelvic tilt position, where his pelvis right here is dumped, instead of being nice and leveled with the floor, it's dumped forward. So forward in that anterior pelvic tilt position. Why is this important? Is because your hamstring actually attaches to your pelvis and to your knee. If Henry's starting position or relative position in the beginning is that his pelvis is dumped forward, right? What happens to his hamstrings, instead of being in a nice neutral position, it's actually already starting in a lengthened state. So the reason why stretching for Henry, in this case, doesn't work all the time is because his hamstrings are already in a lengthened position. So no amount of stretching is gonna fix this anterior pelvic tilt position, because it's not a hamstring issue, it's a pelvic issue. Number two, let's use Henry again as our example, but let's fast forward him to next season. Next season's Henry is a lot wiser now, seeing that he now understands how to set his pelvis in neutral. Not only that, Henry's a lot taller now, meaning he packed on a bit more weight, all right? So all is well right until mid-season. For some reason, he manages to pull his hamstring again. So now he's pissed, because he thought he did everything right, but now he's back to square one. So why is that? What Henry fails to take into account is the fact that he now has a bit more body weight. He grew a bit taller, and his body not only has to manage that, but he has to be able to withstand that, especially once he starts accelerating or bursting out the gates or reaching absolute speed. All right. Not only does his body has to handle that, but his hamstring has to be able to handle that, especially eccentrically. So an eccentric contraction is when your muscle. So the opposite of eccentric is a concentric, which is a shortening of the muscle. An eccentric contraction would be the opposite of that, the lengthening of the muscle, right? So why is that important? So once you reach, so when you run and you put your heel down, you're about to propel yourself forward, your hamstrings are going to be induced to eccentric stress. If your body's not strong enough to be able to handle your that load eccentrically, your risk for injuring your hamstrings might be increased. It's not guaranteed, but it might be increased. Now that Henry finally understands the importance of including a strength training program with eccentrics to counteract the newfound weight that his body has gotten from growing a lot taller, combined also with the fact that he understands how to set his pelvis in neutral, should completely eliminate any other risk of injury that he has in the future, right? Wrong. You can never completely eliminate any type of risk to any injury. You could only reduce it, right? Now, it could be due to the fact that he could just be unlucky. It does happen, and a lot of injuries are due to some people being unlucky. It could also be due to the fact that he started getting into working out and he doesn't understand how to periodize or separate his blocks of training a lot better, where he allows his body to recuperate right before training camp. Could also put him at a risk because he just might be doing too much at once, right? Too much volume at once, and his body's not able to keep up with the demands of his activity. Or it could also be because he's never done any type of speed training before, and his running mechanics are not efficient. He just might be overstriding with his technique, right? He's not able to keep his foot under its center of mass every time he propels himself forward. That could also be another reason. It could also be due to stress, lack of sleep. The list could go on and on. So, and this, the story relates to you, or you could relate to this story. Save yourself some guesswork, save yourself some frustration, and go see a healthcare professional, like athletic therapists. You know, like we're here, we understand the demands. So come see us. We'll be able to help you with that. Don't be a Henry, all right? Peace.